As usual, we start with the vocabulary, and we have the first word here, landform, right? I mentioned that in the introduction of this lesson. What is a landform? Well, of course, it has two words. Two words were combined to make one word, and we know what land is. Land, of course, is the earth. You know, you look around, you see the land. Form, of course, means shape. So the land has many different shapes, right? It's a shape on the surface of the earth. And of course, we can see that. You look around, you can see mountains. Well, that's a shape of the land. That's a particular shape of the land. That's a landform. Sometimes you see even if it's just very flat, we call those plains, right? And that is another type of landform. So there are many different landforms. Let's take a look. So the next word is stretch. Stretch means to reach out. And the reason we're looking at this word here is because, like I just said, you know, sometimes you have plains, that's a landform. But if you look out across these plains, the land seems to stretch out forever, right? It's to reach out. To stretch is like to reach out. I'm stretching. Of course, you might stretch in the morning. Oh, you're right. You reach out with your arms and your feet, your hands and your feet, and you stretch your body, right? Well, stretch out means just to reach out. It also means to like to pull or to go on forever. It seems to stretch out. And that's what this picture shows us. The land is stretching out all the way to the horizon. This is, I should just mention this, that's an H, horizon. Teaching you a new word here. Horizon is where the land meets the sky, right? That's the horizon. So the land stretches out to the horizon. Okay. Next word we talked about this already, mountain. Now I said mountain, but we can also add another word, mountain range. So what's the difference between mountain and mountain range? Well, if you just say, look at the mountain over there, it might just be one mountain. Just, you know, there's a plain, then boom, there's a mountain, but it's all by itself. It's like the Lonely Mountain from J.R.R. Tolkien's Hobbit, okay? Just one mountain sitting out there. But if the mountain is not alone, if there's a lot of mountains and they're all in a row, right? They all seem to be on a line, and there's another mountain, a bunch of mountains behind those, we call those mountain ranges. So a mountain range is a series of mountains. It's not just one mountain, it's many mountains next to each other, and they're all connected, right? You know, you might have a mountain, which is the peak, but you still have high land connecting it to the next mountain, and that is a mountain range. And in the world, there are many famous and very big, very long mountain ranges. Gulf. A gulf is another type of landform, even though we're talking about water, but it's still, you know, it's a shape of the land and the water. A gulf is an area of water that is partly surrounded. That's important. By land. It's partly, because if it was completely surrounded, it would be a lake or it would be a sea, right? Not an ocean. An ocean is not completely surrounded by land. An ocean surrounds the land. But if the land surrounds the body of water, it's either, like I said, it could be a pond, a small lake, or it could be a sea, right? So in this case, we're looking at the Gulf of Mexico, which is a famous gulf. You have America up here. This is Texas, you know, it goes along in the southern states over here to Florida. And then, of course, we have Mexico coming down here, and the rest is Central America, but it's open. You can't see the rest of the map. It's open to the Atlantic Ocean. So the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean, there's no land between them. So it's not a sea, right? It's a gulf, okay? And of course, you can see over here, the Gulf of California is very similar, right? Because Baja California comes down here. This is Mexico, of course. And then Mexico, the rest of Mexico is over here. And you have some ocean that opens up into the Pacific Ocean. It's not completely surrounded. It's open to a larger body of water. So we call it a gulf, okay? So that's a gulf. Located. Now in the previous lesson, we talked about locations, right? And of course, location is a noun. Located, you know, where is it located? That describes where something exists or where it is, right? Not where it is being, but where it exists or where it is in a certain place, okay? So we use a sentence, where is it located? Where is the Gulf of Mexico located? Okay, south of America, east of Mexico. That is where it is located. So where is it located? Where is it? Okay, good. Next, peninsula. Now, peninsula is an interesting landform, right? And, you know, there are many countries that are peninsulas. There are some states that are peninsulas. By the way, I always have a little hard time with the spelling of peninsula. And let me give you a little tip here. You know, sometimes I think, is it P-E-N-N? I want to put N-N or S-S. I was thinking, is it that way? No, just remember with peninsula, it's 1-1-1, okay? So if you get confused, you think, should I put two N's or two S's? No. It's 1-1-1, okay? Peninsula. One N, then one N, then one S. Not two N's together, right? They're separated. So peninsula. And pronunciation, peninsula. Peninsula, of course, it's like the opposite of a gulf. Okay? Think about it. It's an area of land that has water around three sides. Not completely surrounded, right? A gulf is not completely surrounded by land. A peninsula is not completely surrounded by water. It's connected to a larger body of land. Take, for example, the Korean peninsula, very famous peninsula, right? So you have a peninsula, but it's not completely surrounded. It's not the Korean island, right? No, it's not an island, it's a peninsula because it's connected to the rest of Asia, right? There you can walk. You don't have to cross any water to go from Korea to China to Russia, right? It's all land, right? But Korea is surrounded on three sides by water. That makes it a peninsula. The state of Florida in America, you look at a map of America, you see the state of Florida sticking down on the east coast, and that is another peninsula surrounded by the Atlantic Sea and the Gulf of Mexico on the west side and the Atlantic on the east side. And the Gulf of Mexico comes around the south as well. So those are peninsulas, okay? That's like the opposite of a gulf, okay? Trace. Trace means to follow something. And you probably know this word from art class, right? Sometimes if you have a picture, you say, oh, that's a cool picture. I want to draw it. So you put a piece of paper, thin paper, so you can see the image underneath. And what do? You draw the outline of, I don't know what I'm drawing here. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. You draw that's a horrible heart. I didn't know where I was going. Okay, so you just trace the object underneath the paper, and that's tracing. So to trace means to follow something. So you're following, the other hearts on the piece of paper. That's a little bit better. But anyway, this is also tracing. This guy here looks like a detective. He's tracing the footprints to find out who stole his cookie. Okay, so there's a cookie jar back here that's turned over, and there's lots of cookies on the floor, and one of them's eaten. Okay, so he's tracing to find out who ate my cookie. So he's tracing the footsteps. Okay, so to trace means to follow something. Okay, those are our words for the lesson.
Lesson 14. Various landforms. Landform. A shape on the surface of the earth. Stretch. To reach out. Mountain range. A series of mountains. Gulf. An area of water that is partly surrounded by land. Located. Being or existing in a certain place. Peninsula. An area of land that has water around its three sides. Trace. To follow something.